Good morning, everyone. I'm Amy Friesen, and this is Artful Aging with Amy. I've touched on meditation and mindfulness on previous shows, and I've been actively working on meditation and mindfulness on my own. And when I say working on it, I really do mean working. I am definitely the person that has a tough time concentrating on my breathing and not letting the thousands of thoughts that move through my head all the time, even within the 10-minute session. It's really difficult because I have so many thoughts that go on, and you think, oh, it's only 10 minutes, but even 1 minute is difficult. So, however, I can also tell you that those few times that I get in the flow, even if it's only for 5 seconds, you're thinking, oh my goodness, 5 seconds, is it worth it? I got to tell you, it is worth it because it feels really cool, but it also gives me this sense of accomplishment, and I think that that's really interesting. My guest today is Dr. Yasmilde Rodriguez Gonzalez, who is the founder of Equilibrium Meditation, Mindfulness, and Energy Healing. Dr. Yasmilde has drawn this career path throughout her life's journey, which she will share more about in just a minute. As a scientist, Dr. Yasmilde chooses to dig into her own health and life misalignments to finally solve them. I think, like many of us, we're all just trying to figure out what we're doing. And Dr. Yasmilde has made this into a career, and she's very insightful. So I'm really, really happy to have you. Welcome, Dr. Yasmilde. I'm so happy that you're here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hello to all the lovely people that are listening, and hopefully I can help with something.
I'm positive. I'm positive of it. And I think that I knew our conversation would be an interesting conversation today because of what's going on in my life. And this is my first podcast back, but my viewers don't know. But I've talked about my father-in-law moving in, and he actually moved in for 3 days and then he passed away. And so, we're in the middle of this huge life transition, right? Where we set everything up and everything was going to do this, and then all of a sudden, and I know when you say, the functional depression, what that is, because I deal with it. And it's like, I think a lot of people, and why this is so timely to talk about it is because a lot of people have went through these last 2 years with COVID.
Mhm.
And like myself, probably even a little bit like you too. I think everybody, we've all had to look at our lives and what do we want in our lives? And how do we transpire that? How do we make that happen? And if people learn things like meditation and stuff, which is what we're going to talk about today, I feel like that opens up the inner, I don't know the right words, but the inner thought process, that type of stuff, so that people can really get in and understand where their thoughts are. Like, where are they? When I do my meditation right now, my thoughts are very specific. My thoughts are very stuck on certain things in my life, which makes you kind of sit up taller and take notice and say, okay, well, let's like debunk this stuff, outside of meditation. Let's debunk it and figure out what my soul is trying to tell me, or what my being is trying to tell me, is my next move in life, right? Um, Maybe we could also talk about, could you give us kind of a high level definition of what meditation is for the folks in the audience that have, less experience with it or just new to, learning about it?
If I good word to put it in terms that I don't think I've heard before around it. Meditation is the opportunity that you give your human side to listen to your spiritual side. Is an encounter, is that date that you have, and in this case is a deep listening for the other side of you, the one that maybe until now you haven't met, you haven't connected with, and that first door that you open leads you to a much bigger world. um, I actually can leave it
I
as a
think
definition.
I think that kind of sums it up, right? It's just about, getting into that space. And I think that A lot of people struggle with it. So I know meditation can be really intimidating because I've been there and you've been there. And many of us have a lot of trouble slowing down, like I said at the top of the conversation, because, our brains are going constantly. As business owners, they're going, as just generally, like any profession, anything, any being, all our minds are always going. And some of us have a harder time slowing that down just a little bit. And in fact, like, isn't that, I feel like that's one of the reasons why people don't try meditation or they give up too soon. What do you think?
Yes, definitely. And I think I can add a few more reasons why. One of them being expectations, just having expectations not only around the practice, but around your performance around it. There is this standard that you might have of yourself or the practice itself. And the best advice I can give you around that is just throw them all out. Meditation is an extremely personal practice. And what that means is that it's yours to live, to experience, to define. Nobody else's practice is going to guide you through it. And because of that, any kind of expectation that you bring, it is going only to get on the way of you having an experience of any kind. So zero expectation. And the alternative to that, the other way of saying that, which is the one that I usually use, is go in with curiosity. I wonder, how is this going to feel today for me? Right? It's a wonder, and allow the experience to answer you, not your brain, but your experience is going with that deep curiosity, right? That expectations trump it. Another thing that affects it is knowing why you want to do it. Because if you go into the practice because Dr. Yasmilde says it's amazing and Amy says that is worth trying, it's not going to work. It only works when you find a certain level of commitment to yourself, because you know what you want out of it. And in my case, I actually, to be honest, I didn't struggle around it because I was 100% committed to see a change in my life. And when somebody told me, if you do this, that change is going to happen, I chose to trust that person. And then I just showed up for my practice. I was guided through it. It's not something that I think, actually, I don't know anybody that has been fully successful at it with zero guidance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that would be the third thing.
Well, and what you were saying too is that, you have to do it for you, right? Like, I listen to lots of podcasts and I take in a lot of different things, and, a lot of, who I would deem as successful at life people, if that's, what we'll call everybody, including yourself, is including meditation. And it's a very commonality amongst the podcasts and the people that I'm watching and stuff. And that's initially why I started. And again, I'm only doing, maybe 10 minutes a day. And it's because I'm still learning. And, who knows? It's 10 minutes for me, could be an hour for somebody else, could be 2 minutes for somebody else. It's all, like you said, it's personal. But you're right. Once you choose something for yourself to, you decide that's what you're going to do, and you just go all in, right? There's definitely things in my life right now that I'm doing that with. And it's like, I'm just going to do it this way, and I'm just going to see what happens, right? And it's kind of just being playful with yourself when you say, kind of like, just let's try this out. What else am I going to do, right? Let's try this out for a while.
Yeah. Exactly.
If we have folks in our audience considering to start meditation, How do they know if they're doing it correctly? And what do we do with all the thoughts that continuously creep in? I know many people are, kind of freaked out about starting or not wanting to start because there's no guide. There's no way to know if you're doing it. There's no measuring tape, really. And so, do you have any pointers for our audience who are kind of dipping their toes in right now?
Yes. One is aim short at first. Anybody that you ask out there is going to tell you that the given the life that we lead, that meaning we are constantly bombarded for asking for attention into something. We don't live in the Tibet. Okay, we are here in society, immersed and surviving life, and because of that, aim small. Aim for 5 minutes to start, right? And that is going to be good enough, and soon enough you're going to find yourself thinking that 5 minutes is easy. That is the first one. The second one is to tell your brain not to think is the same as telling your heart not to beat. It's not going to happen. So what we aim for is not to quiet your mind that way, is to not pay attention to it. Right? There are different ways in which you can accomplish that. Some modalities, there are many ways to meditate, by the way. The one I do practice is the mantra-based meditation. And that is one way in which you divert your focus. Your mind might be going, but you are repeating a sound, a vibration in your head. And the person that taught me, it's very well known in the field, is Deborah King. And she used to say, you know what? The way meditation, a session of meditation may happen is mantra, 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 thought. Oh, I was thinking mantra, then thought. That's normal. If that is what you're experiencing, that you're doing it awesome. Because that's the way it happens. Also because, as you rightly said, that you might fall into that zone for a few seconds. It has been demonstrated by science that those 5 seconds count significantly. And what happens when you get to that zone is that you give your body, it's so healing for your mind, your emotions, and your physical body, that you then give the chance in those 5 seconds, you give the chance to those 3 things to detox themselves. For the mind, that comes in ways of thought. You might shake, you might feel something, you might have emotions bursting out of you. If that happens, it's working. What that means is that whatever tiny amount of between the gap, through the gap between thoughts, that you actually tap into what we are intending for, is working. Is leading you to cleaning everything in you.
And there you have it. I hope that you've had you've enjoyed today's show and you've had some eye-opening moments. If you have a minute, please like and share us on your social networks. Help other people find this wonderful episode with Dr. Yasmilde and get this help out to other people, because I think it's so important that we all take care of ourselves in whatever way that looks like to you. Thanks again for joining me on Artful Aging with Amy. From me to all of you, I hope that you have a wonderful Wednesday.